Hey, beloved, welcome to another chapter of the book of Sean. Thank you for tuning in. I have a great show for you tonight. My dear brother David is here, and his is a journey of the artist, right? It's never easy when you're trying to build something and fly at the same time. You know what I'm saying? When you're building the plane and flying the plane at the same time, it's never an easy thing to do. And he's going to take us into his journey as an actor. What it's been like, the ups and downs, the twists and turns, the jibes, the jibs, the celebrations, the affirmations, and all the things that come in between. But what you're really going to hear tonight is a man who is passionate about something, but who is slowly reconciling himself to the fact that it hasn't happened yet. What do you do when the thing that you know you really want to do hasn't happened yet? How do you maintain your commitment to it? How do you not give up? And while you may not be an actor, you may not be in entertainment like David and I'm sure there's something in your life that you think every now and then, you know what, I should just throw in the towel. We're going to explore that tonight and see if we can encourage each other and make each other better having been here. We're going to do some Ask Dr. Sean later on, but we always start with the headlines, so you know what I'm going to say. Play the bumper, Hiley. So, did you hear about the 3 Arizona police officers who are now on unpaid leave because they allegedly, listen to this, watched a man drown? Yeah, you heard me. 3 Arizona police officers allegedly watched a homeless man drown. Last month, Sean Bickings pleaded for help as he struggles to stay afloat in a reservoir in Tempe, Arizona. That's him right there. And according to the transcript of the body camera footage, 3 officers watched without intervening as Mr. Bickings went under the water and did not come back up. And to make matters worse, Sean, because that's the man's name, great name by the way, which is also why I'm interested in this story, Sean told the officers that he was going to drown if they did not save him, and still they allegedly did nothing. One officer is identified as saying, and I quote, "I'm not jumping in after you." A police officer is recorded as saying, "I'm not jumping in after you." And consequently, all the officers have been put on unpaid leave, administrative leave, non-disciplinary, check this out, paid leave. Let's say it right. Non-disciplinary paid administrative leave. They watched a man drown allegedly, and they're on non-disciplinary paid administrative leave. I'm confused. I'm very confused. I thought police officers not only had a moral obligation to help people, I thought they had a professional duty to help people if they're in distress. So how are these people on non-disciplinary paid administrative leave? I'm confused. Are you confused? It doesn't make sense to me. Now, aren't we told that we should respect police officers and first responders because they rush in to save people while other people are rushing out? Right? And we're told that we should value police officers because they are the ones on the front lines. And yet we have 3 police officers in Arizona who allegedly, intentionally did nothing and watched a man drown. Now here's my question. Did they watch him drown allegedly because he was black? Or did they watch him drown allegedly because he was homeless? Which one do you think it was? Or do you think it might be a combination of the two? Do you think if it was a white banker, a hedge fund manager, some, Caucasian social influencer that was in the water, you think they would have jumped in if it was a white woman? I'm just asking questions because that's what I do for a living. You come up with the answers on your own. This is amazing to me. So here's my question. Could these officers not swim? I mean, can you be a police officer and not be able to swim? I don't know. I thought to be a police officer, you at least had to know how to swim. So if they could swim and they're police officers, why didn't they get in the water? I'm going to ask the question again. Was it because he was black? Or was it because he was homeless? Or was it because it was a combination of the two? These guys should be, if this is true, if they allegedly didn't jump in to save this man, they should be fired from their job. They shouldn't be on non-disciplinary paid administrative leave. They should be fired from their jobs immediately, especially since a man died because they would not do their jobs, allegedly. Let me give you some advice. You ready for this? This applies for every area of life. You listen to this too, David. If you don't want to jump in the water, don't take the job. All right? How about that? Let's move on. Let's talk about Senator Joe Manchin, because we are dealing with guns in this country. I told you at the beginning of the week that we already had maybe 10 mass shootings over the weekend, right? I found out it was 12 mass shootings actually over the weekend. And Senator Joe Manchin recently voiced his support for raising the legal age for purchasing a semi-automatic weapon from 18 to 21. Now, I would celebrate Joe Manchin for this, but he's been known to start off on one side of an issue and then end up on the other. So you never quite know where Joe Manchin is going to fall when the votes actually get taken. So he's voiced some affirmation of this. And I'm not celebrating Joe Manchin for wanting to raise the age, because here it is, raising the minimum age to be able to buy a semi-automatic weapon from 18 to 21 is not a moral accomplishment. It's a no-brainer, right? Why should an 18-year-old be able to have a semi-automatic weapon? Here is the test. You ready for the test? If you can't buy a beer, you shouldn't be able to buy a gun. So I'm not celebrating Joe Manchin, coming up with some logic of understanding that no, an 18-year-old should not be able to buy a gun. I'm glad he's there, but it's a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. It's not a moral achievement. You know what I'm saying? It's the bare minimum. He's doing the bare minimum right now. Keeping semi-automatic weapons out of the hands rather of 18-year-olds? Come on. And yet there's so many Republicans who are against it. How in the world can you be against? You literally will not let an 18-year-old buy a beer or go into a bar, but you want them to have a gun? I'm still trying to figure out why Republicans don't support that policy. But it's good to hear that he's on the right side. Hopefully he stays there, because he's been on the wrong side of issues that would make America a better place throughout the entire presidency of Joe Biden. But here's why I wanted to give you this story, all right? You ready for this turn? Are you ready? Lean into this. Every time I see Joe Manchin, I'm reminded of the truth that I'd rather have a real enemy than a false friend. Did you catch it? Every time I see Joe Manchin, I'm reminded of the truth that I would much rather have a real enemy than a false friend. Because at least with a real enemy, I know where you stand. I know what to expect from you. I know what you're going to give me. In fact, let me say something radical. You ready for this? A real enemy can be trusted. A false friend cannot. Did you catch that? A real enemy can be trusted. A false friend cannot. Because a real enemy can be trusted to be your enemy, morning, noon, and night. A real enemy is not going to change their mind. They don't like you. And you can trust that position. You know how to plan for that. You know how to deal with that. You ain't got to worry about nothing else. But a false friend, they like you on Monday, stab you in the back on Wednesday, talk about you on Friday, and eat your food on Saturday. I'm just trying to let you know, beloved. I'm not saying you always have to agree with your friends, or that you and your friends always have to be on the right side of the issue, or whatever issue you happen to be on. But I do believe this. You ought to know where your friends stand, and you ought to know what they stand for, and they ought to be consistent in doing that. If you have people in your life who are standing all over the place, moving all over the place, then I advise you to really consider what I just said. It is much better to have a real enemy than to have a false friend. Let's move on. Let's talk about something that I saw that I thought was a really interesting story that concerned me. Let's talk about motorhomes. I know when I say motorhomes, you zone out, but you zone back in, okay? You zone back in, because this is important. So inflation in America is so bad and so out of control that mobile homes are becoming unaffordable. Mobile homes, people. Now, we already know, listen, if you live in LA or New York, San Francisco, or Atlanta, you already know, or Chicago, you already know rent is through the roof, okay? I could do a whole thing on rent, mortgages, interest rates, everything. I mean, try to buy some milk. Don't even try to buy gas in this country, all right? Because you will go broke trying to fill up your gas tank. Inflation is so crazy with everything that now people who used to be able to count on motorhomes as the one place they can find affordable housing can no longer do that. Poor people, low-income people now are sounding the alarm. Mobile homes are no longer affordable. I mean, you used to be able to go to the trailer park where the mobile homes were if you couldn't go anywhere else before you went homeless. Now, you can't do that. This is important, people. If we've gotten to the place where poor, low-income people who can no longer rather afford the one reliable form of housing that they've counted on for decades, where are they going to live? You think homelessness is bad in LA or New York or San Francisco or Atlanta? I'm telling you to your face, it's about to get exponentially worse if low income and poor families cannot afford mobile homes, trailer parks. Listen, man, you don't see the force of this. So let me bring it home to you. Most Americans are only 2 or 3 paychecks away from being homeless anyway. Most Americans, if they miss 2 paychecks or 3 paychecks, we're going to be homeless. So you need to care about this story, because there but for the grace of God go all of us. But the other reason you need to be concerned about this is that there are citizens in this country who are already vulnerable and who are already insecure with respect to their housing, who are about to be a lot more vulnerable and a lot more insecure. And what you don't realize is that the more vulnerable people become, the more dangerous they manifest themselves. This is a problem. I'm not an economist, so I can't fix inflation, but let me tell you something to your face. The Biden administration, somebody needs to do something about this. I'm not an economist, but here's what I know. Most of the time, inflation is caused by the fact that there's a lot of money in the economy, and businesses and manufacturers want to get more of it, so they raise prices. Or there's a disruption in the production flow, and so it costs them more to make it and to get it, so they charge us more to have it. Usually one of those two things that happen, which is why inflation is up and crazy. But in the first case, which is a half of what's going on in this country, inflation is because there's a lot of money in the economy, and manufacturers and businesses want that money, which means that a lot of this inflation is predicated upon greed, not problems in manufacturing. And if greed is the problem, then pray for America, because we have never been able to overcome that. All right, let me do one more before I bring out my brother, David. Let's talk about Milo Yonopoulos. You remember him? You remember Milo? Interesting guy, Milo. Apparently, Marjorie Taylor Greene has hired Milo to be an intern in her office for reasons that only someone as decadent as Marjorie Taylor Greene can come up with and understand. When asked about the hire, Congressman Greene said this: "I have an intern who was raped by a priest as a young teen, was gay, has offended everyone at some point, turned his life back to Jesus in the church, and changed his life." Okay. The only part of that whole sentence that I don't get is the "was gay" part. Okay? Because I don't understand how you can be formally gay. Either you're gay or you're not. We need to stop running around trying to perpetuate the misnomer that being gay is something you can overcome or should overcome, or what do you mean you was gay? I don't understand that. That's like saying he was white, or I was black, or I was left-handed. Huh? Anyway, I'm not here to talk about that. But the real story is, this is the kind of person that, Milo's the kind of person that Marjorie Taylor Greene would hire, okay? All right? He's the kind of person that she would want to bring back to Washington. And let's be clear that Milo is no upstanding citizen, people, okay? This is no choir boy. Milo has been reported to allegedly have ties to neo-Nazis. He's allegedly made anti-Semitic comments. And he allegedly, check this out, made a case for adults having sex with 13-year-old children. That's who she hired. A guy who allegedly has contacts with neo-Nazis, a guy who allegedly makes anti-Semitic remarks, and allegedly publicly made a case for adults having sex with children, which is why he was fired from Breitbart, and why CPAC dumped him, and why he lost his book contract with Simon & Schuster. Now, when Breitbart and CPAC dump you, you know you got to be bad. Breitbart dumped him, CPAC got rid of him, lost his book contract, and guess who hired him? Marjorie Taylor Greene. I believe in redemption. I believe people can change their lives, absolutely. But my mama used to say this: water seeks its own level. And you attract what you are attracted to, and you attract who you are, and you attract people and bring people into your life who remind you of yourself. Yeah. Listen, I'm not mad about Milo and Marjorie being together. In fact, quite frankly, I think they deserve each other. But if you thought Washington was crazy, it's about to get a whole lot crazier now that Milo's going to be in town. Listen, I got to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to talk to David about his journey as an actor and his frustrations, all right? Because it has not been easy. And we're going to talk about his life, his hopes, and some of his pain, because I'm sure this journey has not been all joy and dancing. And then we're going to do some Ask Dr. Sean. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. So the journey to the dream is often not what we thought it would be, right? It's never a straight line. It's always crooked and carrying on. My guest tonight knows that better than anybody. Welcome to the show tonight, David. Hey, David, what's up, man?
How you doing?
Thank you for yes. Thank you for being on tonight. I'm excited to talk to you, and I really appreciate you taking the time to let us into your journey. That's not easy, and I honor it. So thank you for this. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No. Listen. This is what I get up in the morning for, and so I want to get right to it because I want to make sure that we get all of this in because you actually have an interesting story to me, and so here's my first question, and work your way through this. What has been the hardest part of wanting to be an actor?
Oof, that's a multi-level question, but the hardest thing is while you're trying to, I'll make it simple. Trying to make a living while pursuing a dream. So before you land the big role or get on, the big screen and get paid the millions of dollars or whatever, which I haven't got to yet, you have to be able to find a job that's flexible to allow you to go audition. And you want to be able to make enough money to live comfortably, in LA, and LA is expensive. So, working and being able to leave your job at the drop of a hat to go to this audition that could change your life, that's a hard thing because if you're an adult, you want to make good money, you don't want to be, making scraps, not in LA, you can't do that here. So the hardest thing was holding a 9-to-5 and then still being able to go audition. That was the hardest thing for me. I mean, luckily with the pandemic, a lot of the auditions have been self-tapes, so you can do them at home. But for bigger auditions, they want you to come in. So you got to get tested and you got to come in. So yeah, it's pretty tough.
Yeah. So what has that insecurity? Because what I'm hearing is financial insecurity. What has that financial insecurity done to you emotionally, psychologically?
Oh man. To be honest, it makes you feel like being that you're not where you want to be financially because you're taking lesser jobs that give you more flexibility. You couldn't be like a doctor or a lawyer or somebody who has to be at work to make sure that every second counts. So you do server jobs and stuff like that. So it makes you feel less than. And then even moving into like the dating world, I'll even go there. Like if someone asks you, oh, so what do you do? Do you tell them you're 9-to-5 or you tell them you're an actor? I'm going to say actor because that's my passion. So the first question I'm going to ask you is, what have you been in? And if you haven't been in anything, like, you're not an actor. You're trying to be an actor, but you're not an actor. And then like women don't look at secure. They don't look at it as a secure, occupation. So they're probably not going to mess with you. Regardless how fine or attractive you are, like it's an expiration date. If you can't prove that you're financially stable and can provide for a family, if that's what you want, or to be, to hold that position. So like for me, I felt in lack. Like I don't like, there are times I felt like I wasn't enough. Like how I'm living wasn't enough to provide for someone or a family. So yeah, I took a hit.
That's interesting. So wanting to be an actor or being an actor has actually hurt you in the dating market.
I mean, it has. I mean, not that I have a problem dating, but like in certain situations while dating, especially when you get to a certain age, like past your 30s, it's kind of like, women want to have children, before it becomes a high risk pregnancy. So they're looking for stability in a man. you know. So if the profession you have chosen to pursue, if you're not, you know, successful in that, a lot of women aren't going to want to, you know, deal with you unless they're actresses themselves.
Right.
You know, so that's, you know, that's also been like a way to get around that, you know. But I've always had work at pursuing acting. I've always had work, always had a decent job. It's been tough.
Yeah,
It's been a headache.
But you know, Dave, stay right there for a second, because that makes me want to ask you, I think, an important question in our dialogue tonight. That being this, when you compound the financial insecurity, along with how sometimes it's viewed by people you might want to have a romantic scenario with, how has that, and I'm sure a lot more, how has that made you feel about acting or wanting to be it? Has it changed the taste in your mouth for it?
Yes, it has. The taste is still there, but like during the drought times, time where you don't have acting work, where you're not getting a lot of auditions, and like, mind you, your agent gets you auditions, you know, for those who don't know. And if you don't have a good agent, then you're not going to get a whole bunch of auditions. Like, I have friends, you know, that audition 2-3 times a day almost. They can't stop getting auditions. And obviously, the more auditions you get, the higher likely is that you'll actually book one of them.
Right.
If you're not getting anything, all that in between times, it made me want to just like go back to school and get like a job that pays a lot of money. I'm a smart individual. I can go back and get my master's and get a doctorate or something and really work and get a high salary job. I've turned down high salary jobs because I wanted the availability for acting. So it makes me feel like, you know, I can come back to acting later. Acting isn't going anywhere. Let me just quit, get a good paying job, stack my money, put myself in a position to where that I can possibly come back to acting, you know, when I'm more financially stable or financially comfortable. That's what's been a thought for me.
Yeah, I there are a lot of people watching tonight who probably have a similar experience of being frustrated, disappointed, and resentful of the journey, right? They love the goal, but sometimes the journey is just too much. I want to ask you an offbeat question, all right? Because I'm trying to get as much as I can so I can really pour into your life by the time we get to the end of this conversation. And let this question do its work on you. Here it is. What pain did you bring with you to this journey?
What pain did I bring into the journey of acting?
Yeah. What pain did you bring with you to the journey of wanting to be an actor? So even before you got on this path, what did you bring with you?
Right. Well, you know, Dr. Sean, I'm from the hood. So like my family, you know, I don't like where my family is. So like I always took it upon myself to, you know, if I'm successful, I can change that situation. So I went into pursuing, you know, this dream of being an actor, knowing the fruits that can come from it. And one of those being, I can get my mom out of that house that she's living in and get into a better neighborhood type of thing. You know, the thing that most young Black kids want to do for their parents or their moms who come out of, you know, these tough, you know, areas. You know, I have a big family. I'm one of the only like male figures for my nephews and nieces in my family at this time. And it's like, you know, I tell them like I act. So they honestly think that I'm a big time actor. So they tell all their friends and stuff like that. So it's like a weight, you know what I'm saying, on you. Like, nah, I gotta make it because that's what they believe in. So basically what I'm saying, what I brought into it is like a dying, unequivocal want to take care of my family and make sure they're good, you know, and my family's back up north in the Bay Area. I'm in Southern California. So, you know, there's a quote that says, you know what I'm saying, the more you take off, the more you procrastinate, the more you're letting down the people that believe in you. So that's what I brought into, you know, my pursuit of acting.
Now, David, let me say this, because I asked you that question for a very special and specific reason. Because it's often what we bring to the journey that makes the journey twice as hard, right? So we come to something that's difficult with stuff that makes it harder. and while I just saw something in your face. What was that? What was that?
What you just said, you said, you know, what you bring into the journey makes it harder and stuff. And like, for me, Like I've been told by several people, like stop worrying about everybody else, like focus on you. The better you are at you in your situation, right, the more you can help. I'm always thinking, well, I don't gotta worry about me. I'm gonna worry about them. So it's like I brought in that burden, like you said, like it's the truth, you know. And I was kind of like, man, I've heard this before.
And see, David, it must be true because it resonated with your spirit. When I said it, I saw it on your face. So how true is it that you probably need to sort of not think about them, but not make this journey as much about them as you seem to be making it?
Yeah, that's exactly what it's something I'm working on. It's not like focusing on making sure that I'm doing the best things that are in my best interest, because if I don't, I'll never be able to provide or give them the things I want to give them if I don't take care of home first. So like that's one thing I'm really, really working on. And it's so funny that you bring that back to remembrance of me, because at this point in time, this current time I'm in, this moment I'm in right now, I have been thinking about them a lot. And it's been really kind of, dragging me down a bit. Like, man, like I had an audition a couple of days ago. My mind was so focused on what's going on with my family that it was hard. I'm not gonna lie. That's crazy that this point comes out. This is definitely supposed to happen. I need to hear this.
Yeah. No. You're having an aha moment.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that because your soul is agreeing. Even if your mind and your behavior won't agree right away, I already know your soul agrees with everything I could just look. As soon as I said it, I saw in you an affirmation. You know what I'm saying? So maybe a part of the work going forward is, and we'll talk about this a little more after the break, but maybe a part of the work going forward is to learn how to honor what you want to do without being burdened by it.
Learn how to honor what I want to do without being burdened by it.
Right. And that is to say, to keep it as something that you reach for, an aspiration that's honorable and good, but don't turn it into a criteria for failure because it hasn't happened yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a great goal, but it doesn't mean it was supposed to happen when you thought it was supposed to happen. Yeah. I see you thinking, man. Let's take a break. When we come back, I'm going to ask you, what are you getting from this? Because I can already tell you're getting something out of this already. So when we come back, I'm going to ask David that question, and we're going to figure out what the answer is right after this. Welcome back, everybody. I'm talking to my brother David about this journey, trying to be an actor. So I promised everybody I was going to ask this question and get this answer. You seem to be getting a lot of epiphanies. Tell me what you just got out of the end of the last segment.
Well, one of the things that I got was that it's the burden that I have with, the worry burden of, making sure my family will be good and using that state to make sure that I make it and all, in Hollywood and stuff like that. When you said that I could take that energy and use it in a positive light, like let it be an aspiration for me, but don't let it be the thing that's associated with my failure. Like if I fail, you'll never get to be able to do these things. It's all about perspective. And a lot of times, like the only thing you can really control is your perspective on things, especially in situations like this.
Yeah.
And it's like, being able to turn that perspective into, a positive and use it. You can use it as fuel positively, or you could have it be something looming over your head about, you better do it or this will happen type of thing. And like hearing you say that it allowed me to see it from that point of view. You know what I'm saying? Like, turning that negative into a positive. I needed that.
Yeah. Listen, we all do. I need it sometimes too. And that everything you just said makes me want to ask you this: what's your definition of success in this? So here's what I'm asking: what does success look like?
Success looks like being able to work as an actor and that be the only thing I do for my income. So, if I'm on a series regular on a TV show, or because the thing is, I've booked work, but there comes time where, that money has run out and now I got to find the next thing.
So Dave, here's my follow-up question. So if that never happens, if you never get that scenario, can you still be successful or consider yourself successful?
Ooh, wait, yo, that's a tough question.
I literally see it working on you.
Because I can give you the answer that popped in my head. It's like, no, like for me, I want to be able to work as actor and be able to and help others, you know what I'm saying? Like be in a place where someone like a Tyler Perry is, to where that he can reach back and, help people. Like that's what I would really like to do. Not only just be a working actor, but also open doors for other people that were in my same position. You know what I'm saying? That would be success. However, if I'm able to be a person that's an advocate for, young Black, kids or young Black youth to want to get into the arts, whether it's theater or whatever like that, because I have a theater background. I can find that as a success too. Success could be, I can morph my goals in order to make them be a success. But ultimately, I want to be a working actor.
One of the most interesting aspects of life is that when we are in a particular stage of life or season of life, we often don't know how good it is until the season changes. And then we think to ourselves, you know what? That wasn't half bad, because what we're dealing with happens to be worse, right? So in the moment, this happens to me. This may not relate to you, David, but this happens to me all the time. I look at a photo of myself from 5 years ago and I'll go, oh, I was a lot thinner than I thought I was. Because at the moment, I thought I weighed 600 pounds. But when I look at the photo, I go, hey, it wasn't that bad. Here's the point I'm making, all right? I want to change your understanding of success. Because I want to deposit in you the proposition that success for you will not look like success for anybody else. That's not to say that if you end up getting a broadcast syndicated TV gig, or if you get a major motion picture, that's not success. It is. But for you, success is something different. I want to invite you to consider success in your case to be the fact that you found the courage to leap. Because you were surrounded by people in your house, around your family, in your neighborhood, who never found the courage to jump. They never summoned the bravery to run in the direction of their dreams. I'm not denigrating them. I'm not judging them. I'm just saying that for you, success was when you left. Success is when you packed your clothes in the suitcase. Success was when you when you turned that key in the lock behind you and you faced forward and you went to a city that didn't know you and hung out around people who may not accept you, but you dared to do it anyway. You see, what you don't know, David, is that you've been 3 times successful in a race that usually only gives you success 1 time. Are you following what I'm saying to you? Yeah, the fact that you left, the fact that you dreamed, the fact that you dared to act on your dream. So as far as I'm concerned, you're already successful. What you're trying to do, David, I'll put it this way. You are not fighting for victory. You've already won. What you're fighting is to manifest the victory that you have. So you're not fighting to be successful. You're fighting to manifest your success. That is to say, now you want the evidence of what you've already accomplished inside. You with me so far?
Yeah.
So it means now you have to tell yourself a different story. And the story isn't, I haven't gotten the gig, it's financially, it can be financially secure. You know what I'm saying? The story isn't, that's not the story that you need to tell yourself. The story you need to tell yourself is, if you knew how much courage and bravery it took for me to do this, if you knew how much strength and power and greatness I had to summon just to leave the house to do this audition, if you understood what I have to stand in to do this, you would know that you telling me no or delaying my dream can never break me.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that in your face? What's that in your face? Tell me what's going on.
I'm just listening to what you're saying. It's true. Like no one, like I don't know anybody that's made that jump to actually like really pursue a dream that, you know, was a slim to none chance of, you know, them making it. Like everybody plays it safe, at least where I'm from.
Yeah.
And, you know, just knowing that.
Wait. But you did not.
Yeah, I didn't.
No. Hold on. But you did not. I'm gonna wait for it to grab you. But you did not. But you did not. You did not play it safe.
No.
Yeah.
Didn't.
Yeah. And when you hear that, and when you hear it repeated, what does that do for you?
It gives me strength. It makes me feel better. It makes me feel like that's an accomplishment that I didn't play it safe, that I'm strong, you know, that, you know, I'm not weak. Not saying those who didn't do, but like I have a strong heart, I have a strong desire, you know, and I'm following my passions. That's people. Some people don't do that, you know, and I'm grateful to be able to do it.
Yes.
And continue to do it.
Most people don't do it. See, what I've done for you tonight, and I got to go, but what I've done for you tonight is I've given you a pattern on how you need to travel the rest of the way. You can't condemn yourself to greatness. You can't critique yourself to success. You can't criticize yourself to having great moments. What you have to do is celebrate yourself along the way. And if nobody else is going to clap for you, that's your job. And if nobody else is going to identify your inner greatness, that's your job. And what I've done tonight is give you, I've tweaked the story just a little bit to give you the inspiration and the power you need to face whatever's coming next. You follow what I'm saying? So whatever happens in the next 6 months or the next 6 years, if you continue to tell yourself the story that we've crafted tonight, you can handle it, you can face it, and most of all, you ready for this? You won't give up, because you will understand that giving up is not what you do. David, if you were here, I'd slap you with my shoe. I swear I would. You would understand that giving up is not what you do. If you were going to give up, you'd have given up in the house that you left. That ain't what you do. That's not what you're built like. You hear what I said to you?
I receive it. I receive that. Thank you.
Don't get me started, son, because I'm ready.
Thank you, doctor. I appreciate this. This has done so much for me. Thank you for just taking the time out and just hearing what I was going through and just giving me such good advice. Like this is something that's going to stick with me, you know, and I'm going to use it as fuel to continue to keep going and knowing that, you know, I have the victory.
Yeah.
You know, just by me stepping up to pursue.
Listen, I was just about to say that. You are already victorious. You are just fighting to manifest the victory you already have. Listen, people, let's go to break. We're going to do some Ask Dr. Sean. I'm going to say more about this when we come back right after this. Love it. Welcome back, everybody. Listen, great conversation, right, with David. I'm so glad to see him really getting it, right? Really like the light bulbs going off because he's really understanding. But there's a different way to do this. There's a better way to do it. And I say this all the time, and I mean it all the time. You cannot condemn yourself to greatness. You can't critique and criticize yourself to success. At some point, you're going to have to celebrate who you are and what you've accomplished along the way, because we all need motivation. When the journey gets hard and the goals are delayed and the outcomes are not what we want them to be, you need motivation. You need inspiration. This is why we do this show. Because at some point, everybody needs somebody to tell them, keep going. You can do this. It is worth what you're giving up to do it. And I'm glad to hear tonight, or to see tonight even, that he got it. Yeah, if I just tell myself a different story, it'll give me a different feeling, and that feeling might be strong enough to push me along the way. What's true for him is also true for you, and it's already been true for me. Yeah. You have already won. You're just fighting to manifest the victory that you already have. All right, let's do some Ask Dr. Sean. Play the bumper, Hailey. So you guys always send me great videos, and I appreciate the videos that you send. This one is no different. Let's take a look at it.
Hey, Dr. Sean. This is Jadori Nichols from Long Beach, California. Let me ask you a question. Be real with me. What's the difference between being loved and being respected. Do you have any advice for me?
Yes, great question. Shout out to Long Beach, by the way. I used to live in Long Beach. There is a big difference, all right? To be loved is to be desired. To be loved is to be desired. It is to be wanted. It is to be affirmed with affection. It is to be willing to give sacrifice and to sacrifice for. So when I love you, I want you. When I love you, I express a need for your presence, your time, your energy. But when I respect you, I honor you. That means that I am clear about what the boundaries are for my behavior, what I can say to you, what I'm willing to say to you. I don't say those things to you simply because I love you. I don't say them because I respect you. I honor your greatness. I see your potential. I respect your humanity, your strength, your courage, right? Excuse me. It isn't just about desire. It has nothing to do with wanting you or being attracted to you or wanting to sleep with you, right? But it has everything to do with the fact that I honor what I see in you. And a person cannot respect you if they don't see nothing in you. Men are always talking about how they want women or whoever they're dating to respect them. Well, you've got to show something worthy of respect, because respect isn't given, it's earned. And when people can see things in you, see, in my relationship, I just across the board, friendships, every time relationship that you could possibly, I've never had a problem with anybody respecting me. Never. Because you don't get to come into my space without me showing you something that's worthy of respect, because that's who I am. That's what I do. You follow what I'm saying? So if you want somebody to respect you, they have to be able to see something in you worth the trouble of honoring. People are not going to respect your relationship just because you woke up in the morning or just because you throw it down in the bedroom at night. Some people won't even have respect for you in the way that you need just because you pay the bills. No. See, love is about attraction and desire, but respect is about something, I shudder to say it, perhaps even more deeper. I have to be able to see something substantive in you to respect you. And if you are just as shallow as I am and as superficial as I am and as silly as I am, well, ain't going to be a whole lot of respect. It's good to have people respect your relationship. It's a wonderful thing and it's important to do. But make sure that you understand the role that it plays. Long-term relationships aren't really based on love. People will love you today and not love you tomorrow, but they are always based on respect. It's when I refuse to hurt you in a certain way or to talk to you in a certain way or do certain things to you, not because I'm attracted to you or because you're sexy, but because I respect you. I respect the God in you. I respect the gift in you. I respect the greatness in you. I respect the man in you or the woman in you. That's what you want for longevity. And in order for people to give it to you, you have to show them something, manifest something that's worthy of that kind of response. To love you is to want you. To respect you is to honor you. All right, let me read this one and I'll answer it on the other side. I'm 8 months pregnant by my coworker's boyfriend. Wow. I had no idea they were dating when I met him. She recently confided in me and told me that she can't have children. How do I tell her that I'm pregnant by her boyfriend? We'll answer that right after this. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. So here's the question someone sent me, and I read it before we took the break, but this bears and it's worth reading again. I'm 8 months pregnant by my coworker's boyfriend. I had no idea they were dating when I met him. She recently confided in me and told me that she can't have children. How do I tell her that I'm pregnant by her boyfriend? Oh, this is tricky. This is tricky. Now, let me say this. What I like about this question is that you acknowledge, and I'm assuming you're telling the truth, that you didn't know that he was dating her at the time when you got pregnant. So technically speaking, you haven't done anything wrong. He's the one that lied and concealed and, dissimulated. So he is the one that's in error here, okay? Not you, because you didn't know. And, if somebody doesn't tell you that they're dating somebody and there are no obvious clues, then, you just don't know. But your question is, how do you tell this coworker, his girlfriend, that you're having his baby? I got some advice. You ready? Here's the first one. Don't do it in person. Do it in writing. Okay? She needs to read this not in your presence, because her immediate response is going to be sublime anger and resentment. And it might even get violent. And I'm telling you this because you're 8 months pregnant. You don't need to be in a violent situation that could be physical 8 months pregnant, okay? So I'm suggesting that you do this in writing, that you say to her, I have something that I really need to tell you. I'm going to send you a direct message or email or a text message. Be looking for it, okay? Because again, I want you, 8 months pregnant, to be safe. I want the baby not to suffer for grown folks' foolishness. But what you should ask me is, what do you say? Not how do you tell her, because that's how you tell her. But what I think you should say to her is, what you need to know right away is that I didn't know that you were dating so-and-so. I didn't know that he was dating you. I had no idea that he was in a relationship because he presented himself as not being in one. And what you need to know that had I had known that he was in a relationship with you or anybody else, I would have never slept with him. And I certainly wouldn't be pregnant by him, ready to have his child. And what you need to know that the thing I regret the most is how much this is going to hurt you. And I regret what I didn't know. But I couldn't act on what I didn't know because I simply didn't know it. And had I known better, I would have done better. And I owe you this information, not just as someone who is now caught up in this craziness with you, but I owe you this information so that you can make the determination about what you're going to do going forward with him. That's what I would say to her. Her response is going to be whatever it is. It depends on who she is, because your response is always connected to who you are. And if she's on a higher level, if she's a person who can sort of take things in and give things out the right way, she might be able to see the fact that you are as much a victim in this as she is. And in some ways, even more so, because now you have to give birth to this man's child who was lying to the both of you. That's also what I would say to her, by the way. Yeah, good luck with that, because that is, that's quite a question, all right? But I do strongly advise that you don't have this conversation in person, that you give her the information in writing in some kind of way initially, because you got to make sure that whatever her response is, that your baby is protected. All right, let's take a look at another video sent in by Keisha.
Hi, Dr. Sean. My name is Keisha, and I had a question for you. I'm just wondering about today and society. Do you think that with today's generation, college is a great choice? Do you think that's a financial burden on kids now today? Like, what do you think?
Oh, they caught my face. Yes, college is important with today's society and people. Because, not you, Keisha, but I'm talking about everybody else who's in your age range, like this one over here. Half of y'all are on OnlyFans. Shaking your behinds and thinking that that's a worthy accomplishment. Yes, college is important. College is important. Higher education is fundamental. You follow me? And sometimes you have to pay for things that are important. Not everything in the world is free. I know we're used to getting free videos. If a subscription isn't free, we don't want it, right? But, education is the thing that's going to liberate you to do things that you can't do without it. There are conversations you can't have, rooms you can't be in, opportunities you can't enjoy, because your mind has not been transformed and opened and aware of certain things. Just because you're on social media and you've mastered whatever the catchphrases are or the slogans of the day does not make you qualified to sit in certain places. You can talk about being triggered and trauma and all that. Those are just catchphrases. Those are the phrases of the day. But to understand those areas of psychology, those areas of mental acuity in a much more substantive way, it'll change your relationship, your life, your parenting, who you are. It'll open doors for you. Education is important. It will never not be important. I don't care how much technology we have. No one's ever going to convince me that being uneducated is a better way of being in the world. No. And I don't care. I'm not saying you have to go to college, but you have to be educated on some level. Whatever that level is for you. And anybody who doesn't want to be educated is somebody that I don't want to spend a whole lot of time with. Because I'm not interested in being around people who are not curious about themselves, the world, history, ideas. You don't have no curiosity about that? So all of your questions are answered on the Shade Room. Really? So all of your questions about life get answered in the media takeout. Or whatever blog is. Really? No. Let's talk about love. Let's talk about beauty. Let's talk about what does it mean to live a good life. Let's talk about 1619 and what really happened. This is what education gives you assent to and access to. Songhai, Timbuktu, Akhenaten. Have you ever heard of Akhenaten? See, education. Get educated, people. It may not be free, but it's worth the price. And you might end up with your own talk show, because the only reason I got this show is because I'm educated. It's not because I'm beautiful, okay? I'm not bad looking, but it's my mind that got me here. Thank you for watching tonight. I'll see you next time. Y'all be good to each other. I love you.